Reality and Truth Show. My name is Vanita Lambert, and I'm the host, and I want to thank you for joining in with us today. We really appreciate that. I have a very special guest with me today. Her name is Dr. Sheila Kearney, and she is a life coach. She's a health executive and wellness coach, and I just talked to her, so I'm going to become a life coach as well. So I'm going to get my certification through her, among other things, and she's a really good friend of mine. And we're ending Black Women's History Month with a very special story that she knows all about. It's regarding the 688. And I just heard of it when I talked to her because we, just like everybody else, we did not get a lot of Black history in school. So there's a lot of things that we don't know. But she happens to be one of the descendants of, she's the niece of one of the women that's part of World War II.
Right.
Is that right?
That's correct.
Isn't that wonderful?
Yes.
Welcome so much
yes.
to the show.
It's a great day. Thank you for inviting me
Thank
to
you for
participate. Coming. And this is a perfect day to talk about these wonderful women during Women's History Month. The 688 was formed during World War II. In 1944, the ban for African American women to participate in the U.S. Army was lifted. There led to the formation of the 688. These were a group of women who were selected by rigorous routines of testing to be selected to become officers of the 688. First, there was two stages. One were the officers who trained at Fort Des Moines in Iowa. There were 40 who were invited and completed their officer training. And then there was a recruiting call for other women to join. Altogether, there were 855 women who made all of the cuts to become members of the 688.
I would love to know what the qualifications were to do that. Did they have to lift certain,
They did, of course, not to the
physical
level of men, but there was a lot of training, a lot of PT that they had to complete. There was a lot of testing,
written
okay, as well as physical and emotional. They had to train for several hours a day. They had courses they had to take, such as map reading, of course, how to identify various ships, and it was quite an intense opportunity for these women to proceed.
Now, were they all African American? Were there other?
The majority were African American.
Okay.
I could say the 31 officers who participated in the 688 were African American, but the other rest of the members of the 688 were mostly Black, but there were women who were Mexican and Puerto Rican.
Okay. Where did the name come from? 688. How did
That's
they?
amazing.
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean,
well,
I like it. It's just unique. I mean, where did it come from? How did they come up with that?
888 comes from the male program that they initiated when they were in England and also in France, where they had 3 8-hour shifts that work 7 days a week. And that was how they were able to accomplish the amazing sorting and redirecting of mail that had been backlogged for a number of years.
Oh, okay. All right. I was wondering where that name came from.
Yes.
Okay. So tell us a little bit more about the history of these women. And I know we have some pictures to show as well.
Yes.
So let's see. Let's get one of those pictures on.
Okay.
Just give us a second here. There we go. That's the army of how many women again? 800?
And 55.
855 Black women. This is awesome. I mean, women, we fought so hard to get everything that we have, and we earned everything. And to see this, it just brings out so much pride to me, because I didn't know anything about it. And to be a family member of one of these women, that's got to be, tell us how, how do you feel
Well,
about that?
Oh, I really, in fact, I used to spend every summer with my Aunt Mary. I'm sorry I didn't ask her more about this. I didn't know how famous she was, but their purpose essentially was to sort, redirect, and censor mail going to all of the military services in the ETO. The ETO is the European Theater Operations, and that was mail going to Army, Marines, Air Force, Navy, Red Cross, and also other military technicians who were providing service to our military efforts. When they arrived in England, at first they landed in Scotland, and then were transported to Birmingham, England. There they encountered warehouses. Let's think of Walmart-size warehouses of mail that was stacked floor to ceiling. There were broken windows. It was rat infested. There they had to come up with a plan of how to organize this mail. You can imagine having mail where you have 1,000 J. Smiths. They had to figure out the code of each of the officers and sort it correctly. The warehouses were cold. They had to listen to air raids as they were going on. And then also deal with segregated military housing. Unfortunately, during World War II, military for Black Americans was segregated. They were essentially, and this is one of the reasons why they are getting so many awards now, but they were able to process the average of 65,000 pieces of mail per shift. This is per 8-hour shift, up to 195,000 pieces of mail per day.
In a rat-infested warehouse,
Right,
with broken windows.
right.
So what
It was
happened when it
cold, it was
rained
not-
and
Yes.
and
it
so
was
how
cold.
did they do all that? I mean, if there were broken windows, I'm sure water was coming in. They had to protect the mail from getting wet. We always get to work in the best conditions, but
Yes, yeah.
but they managed to do all that. So everything is sorted by like zip code. So as far as I know, what I know about mail, everything is sorted by zip code. So going into a military situation, is it sorted by not zip code, but like, I don't know, number of, like everybody has like a military number or something
Yes,
like that?
everyone has a
Okay.
serial number.
That's what I was
I
saying.
don't know exactly how they did it, but first they would have to obviously break it out by service, Navy versus Army versus, and then sort
And how did
out
they figure that
names.
out? I mean,
They
did they have to
came
put
up-
that on, like when, say for example, my husband was there and I went to mail him a letter, did I have to put Navy, Joe Lambert, Navy, whatever, and that's how they did it because it was labeled?
I believe so.
Okay.
I believe so.
That would be the only way to
yes.
do it, right?
Right, and that's still being, explored, how the exact system that they came up with. But the system that they did use was very successful because there were other units that were sent over before who failed.
Okay.
These women, mostly Black and Latino, went over and got the job done.
Because we're smart.
Yes, and this
Or
was an
smarter in that
opportunity
case.
for them to prove themselves
Right,
worthy.
right.
So they were applauded for their action. Once they completed the assignment in Birmingham, England, which they did in 6 months, they were transported to Rouen, France, where they were given the assignment to do the same, and they completed that action within 3 months. This is approximately 2 to 3 years worth of mail that was backlogged that they were able to sort and redirect
In
to
3
the
months.
appropriate party in 3 months. Following their time in Rouen, they concluded their tour in Paris, France, where they had some assignments, and then they came back to the United States. Unfortunately, there were 3 women who were killed abroad. This was in Rouen. They were killed in a automobile accident, actually a truck accident. 2 of those women were from Connecticut, and 1 was from New York State.
Oh, wow. Sorry to
Yeah.
hear that.
And they are buried now in Normandy, in the U.S. military cemetery.
So they were so popular because they perfected the job that everybody else failed at. And as a result, everybody wanted them. They went from Paris to Germany or wherever they were to do it. That's awesome.
Yeah.
So I know that one of the things we want to do, and I don't mean to throw you off course, is to try to locate family members of these women. And that was, that's one of the reasons why we keep flashing the picture up there. We have it on our phone. We want you guys to follow us on YouTube. We want you to take a look at these women, take a look at this picture. And Sheila also has a list of names.
Right.
So we're trying to locate family members. And this story, there's a lot more to this story, and we're going to mention this again at the end of the story. I just want to, mention that because it's so interesting.
Yes.
And so intriguing that we find the family members because they probably don't know what's going on, that they're being awarded, and that there's a movie being made. I'm sorry, you go ahead and tell the story.
Essentially, one of the reasons I wanted to do this, and thank you for giving me the opportunity, is that these women are going to be awarded, trying to make sure this picture's still showing.
It is.
A Congressional Gold Medal. Last March, President Biden signed into law that the 6th AAA, the Central Postal Battalion for World War II, will receive the Congressional Gold Medal. There were 10 women from Connecticut who were part of the 6th AAA, and I would love to find the descendants of these women so that they can partake in the ceremonies that may be coming up either later this year or next year.
Okay.
This photo here is called the inspection photo. The woman on the left is Major Charity Adams. She was the leader of the 6th AAA. And the woman behind her is my aunt, Mary Frances Kearney, who was then captain. And they're doing inspection of her battalion, which is Company A. Mary was commanding officer for Company A. And there were 4 companies, A, B, C, and D. And so we'd like to find all the women, obviously, for all of the companies. Right now we have a descendants group with approximately 40 or maybe 45 families who are identified. So you can imagine we have a lot more to go.
And that's a good thing that this is on YouTube because that's nationwide. It's not just here in Connecticut. We would like to locate the women in Connecticut, but all of them, as you said, as well. So please, everyone, share this.
Yes.
Share
please,
and share.
Please.
Okay.
The other point I wanted to make is that I want to read the list of names of those women. So if anybody thinks that they may have a family member from Connecticut, please give me a call, contact me, and we can get you some information and on the process. The names are Private Mary J. Barlow, Sergeant Dolores Mercedes Brown, Private First Class Bernadine E. Frazier, Private First Class Audrey Elizabeth Harris, Private First Class Marion Sarah Jackson, Private Margaret Bertrice Janner, Major and formerly Captain Mary Frances Kearney, that's my aunt, Private First Class Elizabeth McNair, Private Margaret May Powell, and Private First Class Anna Terrick. Through some research, I did find out that Anna Tarrant is buried in New London, so I'm thinking there might be some family connections there. I wanted to say two things about Private Mary Barlow, who unfortunately was killed in France in a truck accident. Her brother also served in the Army, and upon his return after service, he attended Harvard Law School, opened a law practice in the Hartford area, and became one of the first Black Connecticut judges. He was also the first Black elected member of Connecticut office. She unfortunately was killed. And then there was a second woman who was from Bridgeport. Her name was Sergeant Dolores Mercedes Brown. I don't have any information on her, but if anybody knows anything, please, I'd love to get all of the Connecticut families identified so that they can participate in upcoming ceremonies.
Oh, wow. I would, some of the names are like so common, like Brown, so that's going to be a tough one to locate. But if you know any Browns, just share this information. I'm going to talk to attorney Cynthia Jennings in Hartford. She may know the person from Hartford because she has all of that history, and she's, an attorney there, and she knows everyone. So I'm going to have to get her to listen to this.
Oh, that would be great. On February 7th, I did present to the State of Connecticut Committee on Military and Veterans Affairs, and I proposed a resolution to honor these Connecticut women. While I was there, it was noted that there is a plaque that honors then Judge Barlow, who was, as I said, one of the first elected members for the state. So please, if Attorney Jennings may know of any other people.
I definitely will. She probably knows them. Or, know someone that knows them. She's very well connected. She was a councilwoman of Hartford, and now she's an attorney in Windsor. So she knows everyone, and probably everyone knows her.
That's
so
great.
I hope she can help you make that connection, and anybody else out there as well. So I am so proud of all of these women to have, qualified physically, mentally, verbally, whatever tests they have to take to, to perform this military task and to do it well. And to be requested in other countries that they did it so well. I just love Black history.
And these women stepped up, but they weren't recruited or whatever. They stepped up to do it. They volunteered. Many of them had brothers, fathers, even sons who were participating in the military during World War II, and they too wanted to do their part. A lot of the advocacy for Black women to participate in World War II was on behalf of Dr. Mary McLeod Bethune.
Oh, okay.
Who worked with then First Lady Eleanor Roosevelt, who pressed the president then to allow women of color to participate. So we have to give applause to her.
Yes.
For her advocacy and making this all happen.
And I remember Ellen Morgan talking about that because at the time I had Ellen Morgan on the show. She's one of our National Council of Negro Women sisters. And she gave the history on that, and she did mention that she worked with Eleanor. So
yes,
yeah.
Yes, I would love to talk with her.
You need to. Yeah, we got to get you guys connected.
Yes.
So now Sylvia's part of the NCNW, right?
She is.
So,
she
okay,
is.
well, we're always looking for new membership.
Right. And Dr. McLeod Bethune was responsible for identifying those first 40 women
Wow.
who were trained to officer candidate school.
So women had to step up at that point. There was no type of draft for women at that
No.
time. The ban was
No.
just over, and I'm just gonna guess, and this is pure speculation, that they didn't want any women in the military at all. You had to go above and beyond, and step up to be there, or else you wouldn't be there.
All right.
Because there was no recruiting. They didn't want you there. And, women had a very tough time in the military, right up until
Of course.
now. I mean,
Even
I was
still.
watching something on the news about,
Right.
women in the Navy
Harassment.
being out. Yes, yes. We won't get into that, but.
But these were really extraordinary women. Charity Adams was a mathematician by training. She came back and then did some work with the State Department. My aunt, for example, used her GI benefits to get a librarian degree from the University of Michigan. When she returned to Connecticut, she then got a job with the New York Public Library. And her story
Nice.
is unique, too, because of the fact that she was a graduate of Howard University in 1928, came back to Connecticut to get a job because she wanted to teach French in the public school system, but was denied a job as a teacher because of her color. She worked at the Liberty building in Bridgeport, Connecticut as an elevator lift girl. And then when the war broke out, she signed up and was selected to be an officer for the Army.
That is interesting and very brave. I have to admit, I'm a little bit on the scary side. I would never enlist in any military branch ever. So,
Right.
I commend them for their service in every branch of the military, whether it's sorting mail or on the front lines or whatever. You have to be really brave to do something like that. And, I just really appreciate the fact that they created this history for us.
Yes.
And they, cut the trail for other women to follow, and made it a lot easier for women in the military now. Although it's not, I wouldn't say easy, but easier. It really
And
has.
these women, whether they served or they were at home supporting families, you have to say, women make the world go round.
That's right. Yeah. So once again, we really, really want to share this story. And Tyler Perry is doing a movie about it.
Yes, he is doing a series, a Netflix series on the 6888.
When is that coming out? Do you know?
It should be coming out this fall.
Okay.
But also, Blair Underwood is doing a musical about 6888, which will be coming out soon. We had a chance to meet him. There were a group of,
Wait, you met Blair Underwood?
Yes.
Where?
It was in Washington, D.C. There was a ceremony at Arlington National Cemetery for descendants of the 6888.
When was this? Was
This
it recently?
was in June.
Oh,
Yes,
okay. Did you
and-
take pictures with them? Look at me, I'm a celebrity.
But,
I'm sorry.
Yes, but he showed us excerpts of the upcoming musical. It was a trailer, and it's going to be phenomenal.
Okay.
It's going to be phenomenal, and I understand there are going to be some other documentaries that are going to be coming out. A group of us descendants are going on a tour in June, from June 20th to 30th, where we will touch steps where our ancestors traveled during World War II. So it begins in Scotland. We'll go to Birmingham, England, London, Normandy, and then Rouen and Paris, France.
Wow.
So I'm really excited about that. So look forward for something that will be produced for
Okay.
that trip.
Well, I look forward to the play. I'm going to look at that, and then I'm going to also watch the movie or
Right.
the Netflix series.
Series, right.
That's coming out, you said, in the fall?
Yes.
That's going to be awesome. Okay.
Yes.
Now, if we wanted to look up the history of the 6888, dive deep into it, Where can we find that information besides Googling it?
You can go to the U.S. Army. They would have a wonderful resource.
Okay.
Yes.
All right.
And the Department of Defense would have a lot of information about it.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, listen, we have about 2 minutes left to our show.
Okay.
It goes by fast, doesn't it?
It does.
So
it really does.
what would you, I want to give you the full 2 minutes to share with the audience any information about yourself or your family or these women.
Again, as I said, I'm trying to find the descendants of Connecticut 6888 members. Please feel free to call me or text me or email me, and I can provide more information to you of what's coming up to regard these women. Also, I would like to ask for your support so that the state of Connecticut passes a resolution to honor these women. They are well deserving of it. They had to forego a lot of hardships.
Yes, they have.
And they deserve it.
Is there a bill number?
I haven't been told of that yet,
Okay.
but as I said, if you call me or text me, I will be sure to put you on the list and you will be notified.
And I will carry it on the next show once I get the information. If there is a bill number to vote on, I'll be happy to share that. And can we have the women's names once again that you're looking for?
Sure.
So that,
I'd be happy to share that. Private Mary J. Barlow, Sergeant Dolores Mercedes Brown, Private First Class Bernadine E. Frazier, Private Audrey Elizabeth Harris, Private First Class Marion Sarah Jackson, Private Margaret Beatrice Janner, Private First Class Elizabeth McNair, Private Margaret May Powell, and Private First Class Anna M. Tarek.
Thank you so much for that information. I just think this is a wonderful way to wrap up Women's History Month with these women. Thank you. That is
Thank
an
you.
amazing story. So thank you so much for tuning in. Don't forget to share on YouTube. This is the David Goodman Reality and Truth Show, and we're on your side.